Okay, so let's just be real for a second. We have never, ever wanted more from our relationships than we do right now. I mean, we're not looking for that good enough partnership our grandparents might have had. No way. We want a soulmate. We want a best friend, a lifelong lover. But here's the catch that huge ambition, it requires a whole new set of skills. So today, we're going to break down a really powerful way to look at love, a framework that honestly could change everything for you. Let's dive in. This one sentence from the amazing therapist Terry Real is pretty much the key to the whole kingdom. He says love isn't some destination of constant happiness. Instead, it's a dance, and it has three core movements. First, there's harmony. You know, that amazing feeling when you're just totally in sync. Then comes disharmony. Yep, the inevitable fights and conflicts. And finally, there's repair, the journey of finding your way back to each other. The most important part? It's a cycle. It's meant to repeat. And here's the problem for almost all of us. We're great at harmony, right? That's the fun part. And we are definitely painfully familiar with disharmony. But that third step, repair, most of us were never taught how to do it. We get stuck in this awkward two-step shuffle of good times and bad times, and we never learn the moves that let us come back together, maybe even stronger than before. To really get why learning to repair is such a game changer now, we first have to appreciate just how much our goals for love have completely changed. I mean, the old instruction manual for relationships, it just doesn't work anymore. Terry Real nails this when he talks about how it used to be. A good partnership was about paying the bills and raising the kids. It was functional. But us? Oh, we want the whole shebang. We want passion. We want to be best friends. We want to be holding hands and still be totally into each other when we're 80 years old. It's a beautiful dream, right? But the problem is, most of us are trying to fly a fighter jet with a driver's ed manual from the 1950s. We just don't have the skills for this new ambition. So let's break down this dance, starting with that first beautiful movement, harmony. That feeling of being in love. It's not just some kind of magic that happens to you, it's something you actively build and maintain. And there's a brilliant way to think about how we actually do that. To really understand harmony, I want to introduce you to this incredible idea from Dr. Willard Harley Jr. It's called the Love Bank. Just imagine that inside you and inside your partner, there's an emotional bank account. When your partner does something that makes you feel good, seen, and loved, cha-ching, they've made a deposit. When they do something that hurts you or makes you feel disconnected, well, that's a withdrawal. And harmony, that's simply the state you're in when both of your love bank accounts are full. So you're probably asking, what counts as a deposit? Well, Dr. Harley actually figured this out. He identified what he calls our most important emotional needs. We're talking about things like affection, hugs, holding hands, real, intimate conversation, not just logistics. Having fun together, what he calls recreational companionship, honesty, admiration. When you consistently meet these needs for your partner, you're making huge deposits. And that's what keeps the rhythm of harmony going. This whole idea comes from Dr. Harley's absolute classic of a book, His Needs, Her Needs. I'm sure you've seen it around. There's a reason it's been a bestseller for decades. It's because it takes this big, fuzzy idea of being in love and gives you a super practical, step-by-step way to actually keep that feeling alive. But no matter how full that love bank gets, no matter how great you are at the dance of harmony, eventually the music will stop. And here's the most important thing to remember. Disharmony is not a sign your relationship is failing. It's a sign that it's a real, living thing. It happens to everyone. The real question is, why? And this is another one of those profound, mind-blowing insights from Terry Real. He says, we all marry our unfinished business. What he means is that the person we fall madly in love with is often perfectly, almost surgically, designed to bring our deepest childhood wounds right to the surface. So that insane fight that feels so personal and so specific to you two, a lot of times it's actually your past playing out in the present. And a huge chunk of this unfinished business comes from our attachment style, the way we learn to connect as kids. If you have a secure style, intimacy feels pretty comfortable. But if you're anxious, you might crave closeness but constantly worry your partner will leave. If you're avoidant, intimacy can feel like a threat to your independence. Now, just imagine what happens when an anxious person and an avoidant person get together. One chases, the other runs. That is a classic recipe for disharmony. So, while our attachment styles explain the deep why of our conflicts, Dr. Harley's work comes back to explain the how. How do we actually drain the love bank? He calls them love busters. And they are exactly what they sound like: specific, destructive habits that can empty an emotional bank account fast and throw the whole dance into chaos. And these are the big ones, the major withdrawals. Things like selfish demands, my way or the highway, disrespectful judgments, angry outbursts, that's a huge one. Dishonesty, obviously, but also those nagging, annoying habits that get under your partner's skin, or just acting completely on your own, what he calls independent behavior. These aren't just little missteps. These are the moves that bring the music to a screeching halt. So, we've danced through harmony, we've stumbled through disharmony, now we get to it. The third movement, the one that changes everything, and the one most of us know nothing about: repair. And this is so key. It's a skill. It's not magic. It's a concrete set of steps that can turn a painful conflict into a moment of deeper connection. So how in the world do we learn this skill? Well, one of the most powerful tools out there is a framework called nonviolent communication, or NVC. The best way to think of it is as a literal script for repair. It gives you the words, it gives you the structure for how to find your way back to your partner when you feel miles apart. Now, the choreography is actually pretty simple, but it takes practice. So instead of saying, "You never listen to me," which gets you nowhere, you follow 4 steps. 1, state an observation, just the facts. "When I was talking about my day, I noticed you were on your phone." 2, express a feeling. "I felt hurt and unimportant." 3, voice a need, because I have a need to feel heard and connected to you. And 4, make a request. "Would you be willing to put your phone down for a few minutes so we can connect?" See how that changes everything? It takes the blame right out of it and replaces it with clarity. So let's say you do all this. You learn the steps, you practice harmony, you navigate disharmony, you get good at repair. But even then, at the end of the day, there is one last crucial question you have to ask yourself about the person you're actually dancing with. This brings us to a really tough but important truth. No partner can give you everything. No one is perfect. There will always be things about them that you wish were different, things you have to grieve. So Terry Real gives us this absolutely clarifying question. Am I getting enough here to make grieving what I'm not getting worth my while? Is the good in this relationship, the love, the connection, so valuable that you can make peace with the parts that will never be perfect? And really, this all boils down to the rawest question of all. After you've done the work, after you've learned the steps and tried your best to repair the dance, you have to ask yourself, is this the right dance for me? Is this the right partner for me? It's not a question anyone else can answer. It's the final, personal, and most important step in the dance of lasting love.